I am joined by Kelli Foster of Bohemia Healing Spa out of Wichita, Kansas. How long have you been in business?
I've been in business for 14 years now. Yeah, it's been a minute. I've been doing this a while.
Let's start with the top three things that have made you successful in business.
When I first started out in business, I had independent contractors. I was very new to the industry, and honestly, I did not know anything about the spa industry when I decided to go into it. So, I mean, I'd visited spas and I had done the spa thing for myself personally, but I didn't really know anything about the industry and how it worked and how people were paid and the difference between independent and employees. And the number one I think, biggest change I made to create success in my business was converting from independent contractors to an employee-employer relationship. And the reason for that was really because when you have independence, it's kind of a free-for-all. You know, you can't hold them to a specific standard. They don't have to really abide by rules and regulations as much. They own their own business, so they can come and go as they please. And when I made the decision to convert, that really, I think, really catapulted my business in a whole another direction, and we just blew up. We were able to have very high standards of every service. We were able to enforce our policies and procedures, and we were able to really treat everybody at the highest standard that we expected out of our employees. And that's the number one thing I think that really created success for my business personally. The other things, I guess, would be a little bit more challenging. I think that looking at myself very hard and being very vulnerable to the things that you need to change in order to create a dynamic team, that was really hard. Taking a really hard look at some of the qualities within myself that were not strong leadership skills. I am not a natural born leader, as Lee Gray will tell you, but we have developed me into a very strong leader when it comes to, the way that I lead my teams towards success and the way that the business has become successful. So that's hard. It's really hard to identify those qualities within yourself and say, you need to be better at this. And it's the B part, right? Like the B do have, like my B was not there, but over time I am now the leader that I wanted to be before by looking at those qualities and really working on the weaknesses, and becoming that person that I really needed to be successful.
What would you tell others? How could they follow in your footsteps with that part, the last part there of being the leader and becoming the next best version of yourself?
Well, people might be able to do it on their own. I think it really takes somebody that can be really honest with you about where you're at and the things that you need to change in order to be that person. I think it's very difficult for most business owners to identify those qualities on their own. I would not have known what those qualities were without my coach helping me to develop that side of myself that created this leader that has become who I am today. But I don't think you can do it on your own. I really do think it takes somebody that can be very honest with you, that you trust, that can help guide that process. And that was a coach for me.
Let's rewind 14 years for a minute. When you look at back in your beginning for Kelli, what made you decide to get into business for yourself?
I mean, it is kind of a long story. I'll keep it as short as possible, but I went through a really bad divorce, and my life was kind of falling apart. I was having to short sell my home, my dream home that I had just my whole life. I wanted this, house like this, and I had this beautiful home and two beautiful children, and I had the marriage, and it was kind of like the suburban lifestyle that I thought was my dream that I wanted to have. And when that all fell apart, it really came down to knowing that I needed to make some changes to be able to make the money and have the lifestyle that I wanted for my children. And really, I think it was about taking risks that I probably would not have taken had I not already felt like I had lost a lot in my life. So I made the decision because I was doing massage out of the studio at the time, and it kind of fell into my lap. The universe sent it to me, and I went with it. And my best friend had a lot to do with that, because she was kind of the one that suggested it and said, hey, I really think this could be a great path for you. And when I had decided to go ahead and move forward with purchasing a business, my thought was, I've already had the worst thing happen that could possibly happen to me. If this doesn't work out, I think I'll be all right, because I'm not a risk taker by nature. But I think that just being in a really tough spot before, and then deciding that, I can make this path for myself, and I can, I did want to also be a mother that was able to pick their kids up from school and fix them dinner every night. I wanted to create my own schedule. I really wanted to have a lot of flexibility in my life. And, that's what I was able to create through having my own business.
In business, what would your biggest challenge be, and how did you overcome it?
My biggest challenge was putting out fires. And it's that, not figuratively, but actually. I had 2 fires in my business. One happened, I think it was 2019, I believe. And then I had one in 2018 and 2019. So I had 2 fires back to back at my Delano location. And it was traumatizing emotionally and very traumatizing, financially. So it was a really, really hard thing to get through, because we had lost so much, and the whole back side of the building basically burned in the second fire. The first one was not as bad. We had a flood that it had burned the water line, and then the whole spa ended up flooding. So it required us to shut down for long periods of time. And the way that I got through it, honestly, is because I was financially prepared for anything. So I had, a very good, solid control of my finances, and a really good amount in savings, that, just because I like to be prepared. So when these things hit, we didn't really skip a beat that much when it took a lot of recovery, but we were able to jump right back in and continue business and get everything repaired. But the biggest challenge, especially emotionally, it was just very emotionally taxing to go through. A fire is devastating in so many ways. Yeah.
And that's a wrap for today's epic conversation here on Epic Entrepreneurs. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that subscribe button, leave a review, share it, or hit that bell. But until next time, let's make sure you keep dreaming, take massive action, and stay epic.